Very good morning. Assalamualaikum. Welcome everybody to the Breakfast at FOM live webinar series, episode 16. We have two speakers today. One is Dr. Muhammad Aizuddin Azizah Arifin from the Emergency Medicine Department, UMMC. And the other one is Dr. Wong Wei Jin, from the Department of Surgery, Faculty of Medicine, University of Malaya. I am Muhammad Izwan, and I'm the moderator for today's webinar. And we are just past 8, and without further ado, I would like to call upon Dr. Aizuddin to talk about trauma registry, University of Malaya, also in short trauma, past, present, and future. Let me remind the speakers, you have about 30 minutes, including the Q&A, and all the best. Good luck.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof. So we shall start with the slide. Okay, so today I'll talk about the trauma registry of University of Malaya, in short called trauma. Okay. I'll start with a brief introductory video. Okay, so in my talk, I'll cover the introduction of trauma, which is the trauma registry. Okay, and then I'll talk about the objective of the trauma registry, and then the outcome of the data collected from the recent data collection from the registry, and also the future direction and what the future holds for the registry. Okay, so why we need the trauma registry? So basically, trauma is the 4th leading cause of mortality in Malaysia, and even though we have significant improvement over the past 10 years in trauma care, it still remains the one of the highest leading cause of mortality in Malaysia. When it comes to PPUM, the patient, we are unique in terms of the patient presenting to us due to trauma, because our pre-hospital covers a radius of 15 kilometers from our hospital. That is about 2 million population around the hospital, and it also is an aging population due to elderly population, and also we covers the 4 major highways around the hospital. This includes Federal Highway, LDP, Sprit, and Kesas. So in that sense, PPM is very unique when it comes to trauma, because a lot of our patient comes with a variety of mechanism, RTA, and also falls due to at old age. Okay, this is just to show the area of coverage of our pre-hospital care. So it's quite a huge area. Okay, so with the trauma registry, it can help us to understand the epidemiology of trauma and enables us to analyze the risk factors which leads to the trauma, develop treatment strategy, and also we can construct a precise intervention system from it. Okay, so in 2019, our department has conducted a study, and during that study, we wanted to look into the to analyze the epidemiology of trauma related to patient visiting to UMMC. From there, we'd like to determine the risk that leads to the death of this patient. So the conception of trauma registry from that study, so from that study, we realized that there's no organized data to capture the trauma-related data, and also epidemiology data for trauma is very limited in UMMC. So with that in mind, we developed a database using a REDCap system, and the database has allowed us to analyze data and yielded useful information that can be translated into resource allocation and also policy making. So this database was a brainchild of our Professor Izwan, along with Dr. Zul, as well as Dr. Kalani from our department. And for the data collection, the REDCap was used to capture the data. So REDCap is basically a web-based database. Is currently being subscribed by University Malaya. So it's a web-based data collection system. So it can actually be accessed from any browser with internet connection, and it's very secure, safe, as well as very convenient, and the data collection can be extracted easily. So it's very useful when it comes to research and data analysis. Okay. And throughout the study also, we realized not only is data is limited because of there's no registry, it also is similar to other centers as well. Ministry of Health had limited trauma registry, which is very confined to certain hospital or certain centers. So it's not widely used, and also it does not it's not readily available. The data is not readily available for us to extract. Okay. So for the study performed, it was a retrospective study. Data was collected from June 2017 to May 2019. Okay, and we used the triage note from the EMR to guide to extract the data from EMR. And the data was keyed in manually to the trauma registry. These are the data collected from for the registry. This includes demographic data, mechanism of injury, data from Department of Emergency, which includes, for example, time of arrival, time being seen, okay, data like that. Radiology department, type of imaging that was performed, okay. OT information, ICU admission, ward admission, the TRIS and AIS score, and also what are the complications during the hospital stay and the discharge. So we analyzed the risks that contributing to mortality. We look into the demographic data, the comorbidity of the patients, the mechanism of injury, time arrival to ED, the trauma activation time, the RTS scoring, ISS score, type of injury, and whether the CPR is performed in ED or not. Okay. These are the examples of data collected into the trauma registry. So, for example, the age. In this example, actually, the age of the patient mainly is from age group of 21 to 40 years old. That's the main age group that presented to us due to trauma. Okay, we also have gender distribution and also race distribution for the data collection. Okay, and the triage at the beginning of the patient who presented to us. Okay, so mainly from the data is actually patient who presents to us due to trauma goes to green zone, yellow zone first. Okay, mechanism of injury. As I said, we cover a lot of highways around our hospital. So mainly it's because of a road traffic accident. Okay, and also because of the aging population, most of our patients also presented from falls as well. Okay, injury type of injury. So mainly injury is lower extremities, followed by head and rest. Okay, so complication from the data we extracted during the admission, we noticed that pneumonia will be the pneumonia and anemia will be the main complication for the patient, and followed by the rest. Okay, so the data collected, it was concluded that RTS score was the significant is significantly associated with mortality rate, and severe head injury was found to be significantly associated with mortality rate. Right. So now we have the basis of trauma. We hope trauma registry. We hope that this registry can be continued and maintained for future use. For that, we may require funding to maintain the subscription of database. We believe that having a dedicated staff for data collection will be the way forward for this database to expand. We also like to have the data collection to be expanded as well. We like to have other disciplines to get involved with the database so that more input can be given for the database. And also data from other supporting service and non-clinical department, for example, finances, which may help us to, the data collected may help us in terms of policy making and also resource allocation. Okay. We believe that the database can help in with research, opening up new avenues for studies and research, and also for the hospital, quality improvement program may be created to improve patients' outcome and services. We also hope that this registry can help interdepartmental and also interagency collaboration as well. For example, in our trauma team, which currently consists of Department of Emergency Medicine, Department of Surgery, Department of Anesthesiology, and also Orthopedics. So with the data collection, it can strengthen the collaboration between the departments. And also interagency initiative. At the moment, we are engaging with MIROS with our findings so that they can implement preventive and mitigation measures for road traffic accident. So we think that with the effective data collection, it can help this kind of interagency collaboration. All right. So that's about it from me. I open the floor for any questions.
Too early in the morning.
Yeah. Want to read?
What do you reply? Of course, the ophthalmology registry, but does it incorporate trauma, and kalau they include the trauma, and how does it actually we can join the registry, or we can have the registry together and see how the way forward we can interact with it. You want to collaborate, something like that. Collaboration is good.
So we have question here from Prof. Tengku. Any possibilities to collaborate and combine data? We have UMMC ocular trauma data from 2006 that we can specifically specify trauma registry. Yeah, I think there will be a good idea actually to have a collaboration, and definitely Prof. Izwan here is very eager to have it done. So yeah, I think we can look forward into have that kind of collaboration.
Oh, good, very good. Okay. Straight away dia good. Okay, so now we know already lah. We can join.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. Tengku, for the question.
Yeah. Can you ask her? Are you using any trauma dictionary, because we are using AI?
AIS.
We are using ISS and AIS. What are you using?
So Prof. Tengku, I have a question here from Prof. Izwan. Do you have any? Do you use any type of trauma scoring or dictionary to translate the trauma, the type of trauma you receive? For example, we use the AIS and also the TREE system. Do you have any kind of scoring that you use in your department for trauma? Okay. So we have a question here from Prof. April.
Yeah, we have.
Do you have data such as time to surgery? Okay. The question is, do you have such data such as time to surgery, and do you think a dedicated trauma surgical service is needed, or is the current model sufficient? Prof, we do capture the time of going to surgery, also and type of surgery as well in the trauma registry. We think that definitely trauma service in PPUM can have improvement in terms of our collaboration and also coordination. A dedicated trauma service definitely we think is the way to go forward, Prof. With if we can afford that kind of service here.
Yeah. Can I answer that?
Oh, sorry.
We hope that the trauma registry can be incorporated in the EMR, because the current registry is under REDCap. We thought of bringing the data needed for the registry into EMR, and that is the next step for us, because if we can actually auto-generate the data using the EMR, it will be superb. Because if not, the work is a lot to actually put all the data retrospectively into the REDCap.
So we have another question here from Prof. April. Do you have sufficient volume to sustain a dedicated service? Well, Prof, as I mentioned, actually, to us, we do believe that we have a sufficient number. As I mentioned, that we cover a lot of elderly population as well as major highways around our area. So we do receive a lot of trauma that most of it, as you see, during presentation, most of them presented in yellow zones. So in terms of urgent surgery, it might not be that many, but I think having the service available would be great in terms of patient outcome. Okay, so I have Dr. Gu here from Department of Surgery. Does your trauma registry cover all trauma patient, single rib fracture, etc.? Second question is how did you calculate the AIS? Do we have anyone trained in AIS calculation based on American Automobile Association? I think the best person to answer this question would be Prof. Izwan. He's directly involved with the data collection. So, Prof.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, the first initial research that we have conducted, the registry covers all trauma patients. As I mentioned just now, it's a retrospective data. We hope that if we can get incorporated with EMR, it will be in real time. So more data will be captured. That to answer your first question. Second question, yeah, we actually, what we did was, we didn't have an official training per se, but we went to Miros and we actually kind of like collaborated with them and they have given us a short session on how to actually calculate the AIS and the ISS using the dictionary. We have purchased the dictionary using a grant that we got from the College of Emergency Medicine. And we, from that, we were able to calculate the trauma scoring. Yeah, the ISS and the AIS. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gu. So next question is from Dr. Terence from Geriatric. Do you think older people get missed from trauma activation calls as your data seems to be skewed to those in their 20s? Well, we do not differentiate age when we activate the trauma activate the trauma team. Any patient who present with trauma that fulfills the criteria for trauma activation, we will activate the patient. We will activate the trauma team. I think when elderly patient come presented to us due to a trauma, usually it will be a significant injury, but the mechanism will be a trivial mechanism. For example, a fall in the toilet, minor trauma, things like that. So usually it will not fulfill the criteria for full activation in the trauma team. However, if the patient exhibits any abnormality in terms of the vital signs, any sign of instability or severe injury, definitely will activate the trauma team. We do not differentiate ages in terms of trauma activation. We have another question here, Prof. Tengku from ophthalmology. Is much funding required to keep this registry going? I think this one is for Prof. Izwan again.
Yeah, of course, funding very hard to come by for us. We actually started doing this registry for free, actually. So the initial grant we got actually from the College of Emergency Medicine, and we were grateful to them. But unfortunately, we don't have any RA. We were because the grant is quite limited. However, we hope that with this so-called advertisement in future, we hope that grant will be easier for us, because we really need a dedicated person to run this registry. Thank you.
Okay, so that's all from me. I'll pass the floor back to Professor. Thank you.